Let me quote Travis Kelce. He says, I got a chance to meet Russ before the game. Nice enough guy, but there's an ever-present stepdad who tries to hard cringe that permeates the air around him. He asked me if I thought people who watch Harry Potter were going to hell. When I laughed and told him I didn't know, he asked who my favorite Harry Potter character was. I replied, Hagrid, and he told me he'd be praying for me. He had a lot of nervous energy, like a theater kid recording a TikTok movie monologue. His voice kept shifting accents when we talked, like a computer that was trying to sync up with my voice. I don't know. Seemed like a dude who would hang out with Patrick's brother. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh my God, I didn't read that part. Jesus Christ, he accused him of someone who would hang out with Jackson Mahomes.
I mean, he just absolutely flamed him there.
That was,
but I mean, if that's what he thinks of him, what do other people think of him?
Yeah.
Because I mean, first of all, said he was a TikTok kid.
Yeah.
Said he was a theater kid. Said he could hang out with Jackson Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like, that's a trifecta diss right there.
Yeah, and I was talking about how NFL players were coming out and openly dissing Russell Wilson, which I thought he was the first major quarterback in the NFL who's accomplished a lot in this league, who players were coming out and openly dissing. It's like, I never saw players come out and make fun of Big Ben Roethlisberger when he was starting to fall off. They never made fun of Phil Rivers, Drew Brees. Not that he's on the same level as those guys, but at one point people thought he would be. But players absolutely came out and clowned him this year. We saw it with Justin Tucker. And then we saw it with the Minnesota Vikings. So it's like, when you have NFL players just comfortably making statements like what Travis Kelce just made, then there's a problem where you're not a figure where people are afraid of you, where it's like,
or respect you.
No,
I mean, the difference between him and these other guys is, first of all, none of these guys demanded their way out of Seattle, which he might say that he didn't request a trade, but he did. Not only that, they're also not as corny as this man is. I mean, The Danger Witch thing is definitely worth some cringe. And there's other guys who have had cringy commercials, but like, this dude he's pumping out cringe pretty much weekly at this point.
Yeah.
And then not only that, yes, you saw these guys regress significantly, but they did it with honor. I mean, this guy signs this massive contract. Last year, he didn't even play that bad. And years prior, he was in the MVP race for a lot of the season. So it's like, you went from MVP caliber quarterback. Some people would put you in the top 5. I wouldn't have. But now you're terrible. Now you're one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. So it's like, it is a thing that people can make fun of you for, because not even last season, his numbers weren't that bad.
No.
And that was with a broken finger. And now your team's 3-10. Your team's played terrible. And the reason why your team has played terrible and the reason why your team's 3-10 is because of you. You are the laughing stock of the league. And honestly, it's your fault.
Yeah. And personally, we can talk about how this is the worst trade maybe in NFL history for the Broncos. It's a pretty bad trade for Russell Wilson when you look back at it, because it's like Cortland Sutton goes out and then you lost Tim Patrick going into the year, but it's like Seattle's wide receivers were still better than Denver's. And like DK Metcalf is by far better than Jerry Jeudy. And
Not even close.
It's not even close with Tyler Lockett either. I would take both of those guys over anyone on Denver.
They're more proven.
And then you have the first really good draft, and you get Tyreek Woolen at corner. You finally draft a really good offensive lineman, and then you draft Kenneth Walker. So it's like, even running back, you could go back to when they had Javonte Williams, but Kenneth Walker is right on par with him.
Yeah. Well, it's a bad trade for him. I never thought that the Broncos were the best fit for him.
No.
Because he's competing with Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes. Imagine if he was on the Saints this year. I mean, yes, the Saints have been banged up, and I don't think the Saints are going to be, I don't know. Who knows where they would have been at this point. But you would have had Michael Thomas for part of the season, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, okay, and Alvin Kamara. A run game, which you like, and a defense that last year played well. So it's like, I would have liked him better on the Saints.
How about the Jets?
The Jets, imagine if they had him on the Jets. I mean, if he could play like he played in the past, he'd have a really good defense, he'd have a really good run game, and he'd have some good enough receivers.
Yeah, and I think the run game something missing in Denver because you expected it with Javonte Williams. And then Melvin Gordon, people didn't think that he was going to be this much of a shell of himself. Or you,
He's gone now.
yeah, he's gone. You cut him, and now your running backs are Latavius Murray, who's still really good.
Okay.
He's an older guy, but he's still a solid running back. But is he Kenneth Walker? No, he's not.